welcome into the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Wednesday, September 23rd, 2015. I am Dave Biddle, and I am joined by Bucknuts contributor Jonah Booker. Jay Book, let's just cut to the chase. Urban Meyer is going to meet with the media after practice tonight at 6:45. He said yesterday on his teleconference that he might announce the starting quarterback at said press conference tonight. Do you think he will name a starting quarterback tonight, and if so, who do you think it'll be?
I do think he's going to announce who the quarterback is tonight, and I believe he's going to go with J.T. Barrett. At this time, the way Cardale Jones has played and the way that J.T. Barrett has played, he really hasn't beat Cardale out, but Cardale has played so bad, I think he's played himself off the field. I think they're going to go with Barrett, give him a shot. They should beat Western Michigan handily, and this is going to be Barrett's opportunity, and I think you're going to see a situation where even if he makes a mistake, they're going to keep him on the field because he needs the game reps, as Urban Meyer had alluded to after the game last week.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, Jay Book. You know, Coach Meyer said yesterday that, when somebody asked him, do you know who your quarterback is? And he said, yes. And then he said, well, kind of. And then he said, yeah, I pretty much know, but I'm not going to tell you guys right now. And then he said, yeah, I know, but I'm not going to say till after practice tomorrow probably. So he's a little bit all over the place, but the bottom line is he knows. Agree or disagree? I mean, Urban Meyer knows right now who his starting quarterback is going to be against Western Michigan right now.
They absolutely know who it's going to be. I mean, you can kind of tell the way the last game played out. When Cardale Jones was pulled, J.T. Barrett played the remainder of the game. When it was crunch time, who was in the game? It was J.T. Barrett. If they were going to go back to Jones, I think at some point they'd have went back to him similar to what they did in the past, but they stuck with J.T., and it's at this point now that whatever guy that they choose, just pick one and ride or die with that guy. They're going to make mistakes. They're seeing different looks that they're claiming that they weren't prepared for. Okay, but you guys saw a 3-4 look against Wisconsin. You saw a 3-4 look against Alabama and Oregon, and you guys gutted them with the wham play with Vanette coming back on the crackback block. You ran the counter play to death against Oregon where you were pulling the guard in the center, and you guys absolutely gutted them. So at this point, I think it's all about getting the execution down and getting the guy in rhythm with the offensive line and the wide receivers, which is missing badly this year because with them rotating the guys, you're not seeing a lot of comfort within the offense.
You make a very good point, Jay Book, that all signs right now point to J.T. Barrett, and I agree with that. I will caution the listeners about this, though. All signs pointed to J.T. Barrett in the preseason, with the just everything Urban Meyer was saying, and then we had on the Scarlet and Gray days on Big Ten Network, Tim Beck telling J.T. Barrett, make sure you take most of the first-team reps this week, so we got to get ready for Virginia Tech. Everybody read it a lot into that, too much into that, myself included. So part of me thinks, even though all signs kind of point to J.T. Barrett right now, that Urban Meyer is going to give Cardale Jones one more chance, and he's kind of keeping everybody guessing because why is he acting like he's going to make a decision if he's going to stay with Cardale, right? Because if he's going to stay with Cardale, there's no decision. He just sticks with the guy that's been the starter of the first 3 games. So the prevailing thought is he's going to switch to JT, and just to play devil's advocate, though, man, I somewhat think there's a chance that he's going to pick Cardale Jones. Your thoughts?
He could go with Cardale, but this is such a delicate situation that if you mess this up, you're going to look like a complete fool considering this was a no-brainer coming into the season that Ohio State, no matter who you play, both guys were going to perform at a high level. But you're also dealing with Cardale Jones, who's a very emotional guy, so you necessarily can't handle him the way you would handle J.T. Barrett in this type of situation because Cardale's a very emotional guy that speaks his mind, and the last thing that you want to do is create some type of rift within the locker room because right now you have defensive guys who is carrying the weight for the offense even though there hasn't been any type of noise coming out of that side of the locker room. But the last thing you want to do is have some type of controversy where Cardale is popping off, which I'm not saying that he will, but what I'm trying to say is that you have to handle him differently than what you would normally handle another quarterback such as J.T. Barrett.
Switching gears, Paris Campbell, bruised knee, off the depth chart this week. Hopefully it's not serious. We're awaiting word from Ohio State. Ohio State has said nothing about this. It's one of the many questions we'll ask Urban Meyer after practice tonight. J-Book, nothing against Paris Campbell because I think the guy's a future star. But we're talking about the 2015 Buckeyes. I think Ezekiel Elliott and Michael Thomas, they're already heavily involved. I get that. They need to be more involved, in my opinion. And who am I to tell Urban Meyer what to do? From the observation deck here, those are the guys that are going to be the NFL stars. They're not just stars on the collegiate level. Ezekiel Elliott and Mike Thomas, there's just something different about those two guys. Those guys need to get the ball even more than they already are, especially Michael Thomas. So nothing against Paris Campbell, but I don't see this as a huge loss. In addition to Mike Thomas and Zeke, you have Braxton, you have Curtis Samuel, Jalen Marshall. So, nothing against him, but not a big loss in my opinion.
I definitely agree. I was a guy who was really high on Paris Campbell. I thought he was going to be the breakout player that really made a name for himself this year, but he struggled with a lot of mental mistakes, drop balls, misassignments, jumping off sides, motion penalties. So at this time, I think they need to have a hard look at what are they doing with the football. As you mentioned, get Michael Thomas the football. And the thing that amazes me, Dave, is you have a guy, everybody knows Michael Thomas is by far the best wide receiver on the Ohio State roster. Teams are not even doubling him. He's seeing single coverage with no safety help. If I see that, I'm checking to him every day, all day. Michael Thomas will be spoon-fed the football along with Ezekiel Elliott. Get those two guys the football with Braxton Miller. And I'm a strong believer if those three guys are consistently touching the bases, touching the football, those three guys can take you to the national championship.
Last topic real quick before we end the show. People are talking about the offense a lot, and rightfully so, about the concerns, and lauding the defense, rightfully so. This is the return of the Silver Bullets. If last year wasn't, this year certainly is. I'm putting these guys up there with some of the best of the Tressel era. 2002 is the gold standard as far as I'm concerned, but these guys are really, really, really good on defense. The one concern I have, looking at the Silver Bullets, J-Book, is depth at corner. This Damon Webb situation, we can't get into specifics, but, man, it doesn't sound good. I don't anticipate him returning to the team anytime soon. That's about all I can say. So that leaves Marshawn Lattimore as the top backup corner, which if he stays healthy, that's great. I mean, every team in America would love to have a backup corner as good as Marshawn Lattimore. The problem is, as we both know, J-Book, he's had chronic hamstring issues, and I wonder if he's going to stay healthy the entire year. And then that leaves true freshmen behind him. You have Denzel Ward and Eric Glover-Williams, and I like both those guys a lot. I've been high on Denzel Ward from the get. But the point is, Eli Apple, Garyon Conley, in my opinion, future NFL corners. But if one of them gets hurt and Marshawn Lattimore has his hamstring issues pop up again, guess what? There's going to be a true freshman starting at corner for the Buckeyes, assuming they don't move Cam Burrows over there, which they could do. That's my major concern, J-Book, is depth at corner. As a former college DB yourself, your thoughts on the depth at corner at Ohio State? Should I be worried about it, or am I looking too much into it?
It's definitely a concern with Damon Webb out. As you mentioned, it looks like the Silver Bullets are back. But one thing you have to look at, why are the Silver Bullets are back? It's because the coverage in the secondary is outstanding. They're squeezing the window down to where the quarterbacks are having a hard time getting that ball in there. And because the quarterback is holding to the football, you're starting to see pressure up front. The linebackers are playing outstanding. When you have Garyon Conley and Eli Apple playing at such a high level, that is making the defense flourish. You saw the New York Jets against the Colts a couple nights ago. The cornerbacks is what is running that defense. And if one of those guys go down, it's going to be a huge problem because teams are now going to start picking on that freshman. As you mentioned, they could move Cam Burrows down, but he's not really a natural corner. He necessarily doesn't have the hips to be on the island out there. I think he will do well in the nickelback position along with Marshawn Lattimore, but the main thing is keep these guys healthy.
Great stuff out of J-Book. It's easy to see why we have him on the show and as a contributor to the site. Excellent stuff, Jonah Booker, and thanks to the listeners out there. Just a reminder, again, we've mentioned a couple times on the show, but Urban Meyer tonight after practice, around 6:45. Ohio State says 6:30, but it's usually about 6:40, 6:45. Could he announce a quarterback change tonight? We will find out, so keep it locked to Bucknuts. We're also going to interview a few players after practice tonight. So, again, Urban Meyer and a few players after practice at 6:45 tonight. Thanks again to Jonah Booker, and thanks to you for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day. Take it away, best damn band in the land.